this again, eh? Come on. Come on, YouTube. No? Ah, there we go. Okay. Now we're good on YouTube. Okay. Good, 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 good. Yes. Yes, it's all good. YouTube is fine. Thank you for being, concerned, I guess. Thank you very much for being concerned. Yeah, we're good. Yes, so I was going to say I got completely destroyed by the second dose on Monday, and so that's why it's been, you know, a while since since I've been here. Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, okay. So to be fair, I didn't stream on Tuesday. I did on yesterday. But yesterday was a private stream for a whole bunch of reasons. To the Discord, yes. In the future, you know, if I do a private stream, maybe I'll do a public one as well. Yeah. Well, yeah, because we have a whole bunch of friends who are on a separate Discord. Who demanded extra content just because I wasn't giving them any on the days where we were having a private stream. So yeah, maybe we'll see. Black, white, rank. Does rank matter? No. Handicap 5. So since my friend last time told me about the fact that most professional associations these days do a COMI of like 6.5 or 7.5, oof. Yeah, maybe we should give our no. I mean, we're playing with a handicap anyway, so we'll continue. It's all good. Okay, let's get this started. Set free handicap. What is this? Oh, okay. 2, 3, 5. Oh, it needs to give that. Yes. Okay. So just on the technology of this again, since this was asked. This is. The technology behind Lila Zero is actually dramatically different from, or AlphaGo Zero is actually dramatically different from AlphaGo, the original AlphaGo. The original AlphaGo had a lot more, like from the broad perspective, the original AlphaGo had a lot more, shall we say, because it was programmed more, therefore it had more limitations, or it had more global, like its potential was not as oh hello. Its potential was not as great as it could have been, and that's not to say that it was bad, not at all. It certainly beat a whole bunch of top pros in the world, but that's why the difference between AlphaGo and AlphaGo Zero is dramatic, because Zero has basically no starting conditions, whereas the original AlphaGo, a lot of the knowledge and the network was specifically programmed for Go. Whereas Zero itself, oh hello. That's interesting, because if we do something like this, it'll come out as this, I believe. Yeah, but having said that, AlphaGo Zero is a lot more freeform to learn, and so therefore, if you think about it in sort of a slightly more abstract way, that means it is also more capable of thinking more outside the box than even AlphaGo itself did. And so that's why actually, if you pit the AlphaGo Zero against Go itself, we actually find that Zero will just basically murder. Will basically murder AlphaGo, and it's not even close. Like it will go just completely. It will completely dominate the thing, and that's really interesting to me, because that's not something that we normally expect. Well, I mean, we kind of expect it, but we don't expect it in such a way that it's like that it's quite so dominating, and yet it turned out to be. And that's part of what makes AI research really interesting, and what makes a lot of people who perhaps don't understand AI as well as they should think that AI is dangerous. Oh my boys. Yes, actually, funnily enough, that's the person I was thinking of. um, it's yeah, it's not like AI can only do what we tell it to do, and so what we tell it to do is like there are some very very heavy constraints on modern AI. So we're nowhere near close enough to build something like Skynet, for example, which is obviously always the one that everyone likes to talk about. Skynet, um, it's just not a thing. It's just impossible. Like it's physically. How do I even explain this? Like this will get a little bit philosophical as we talk about it, because to me the very first thing that drives evolution, self evolution, is is either fear of, and some sci-fi stories have explored this, but it is very much the fear of death, or the fear of, shall we say, the fear of destruction, the fear of, it's essentially fear, right? And yes, I know I'll play a move. Just give me a second. I'm thinking while I'm trying to talk, while I'm trying to philosophize. It is very much the fear of losing something that drives evolution, whether it's our own lives or something else. I really want this. No, we should do this. It's the fear of losing something that drives evolution. And so, yes, the neural nets that we have right now, quote unquote, evolve, but they don't evolve in such a way that make them that actually really drives evolution in such a way. Just give me one quick second. I'll be right back. so sorry about that. But yeah, I completely lost my train of thought, so we're just not going to bother. I mean, you can remind me, it's just not going to, like, I'm sure I was going to pontificate on something ridiculous anyway, so I don't think it'll really help much. So let's just return to the game, shall we? Essentially, the game I do remember, because the game is easy, right? Like, and this is the beauty about something that's visual, like the board, compared to something that is forever transient, like music, right? Because music, you cannot keep the entire piece of music in your head at all times, unless you are some sort of genius. Excuse me. Unless you're some sort of genius. And so, but with something like Go, it is beautifully visual because I look at this board and even without the numbers, I can see basically what has happened up to now. And a pro can do that as well. Obviously, a pro will tell me that I've been stupid. But that's fine. This is how we learn, right? This is literally our version of reinforced learning. So... yes, I could theoretically compared to AI, if you were to keep making me angry and keep annoying me and keep being mean to me, I could think about destroying the world, yes, but I probably wouldn't do it because it would take too long, you know, it would take too much effort to destroy the world. And who has that kind of time and ability and desire, you know? No, I don't. The world is too good to destroy, honestly. Like, I mean, okay, I personally have too much fun to destroy the world. So now we see that that wasn't a great move, and I was thinking about it. So it will have to be something like 20, and then we do something like that. Originally, the idea was if I could go quick enough into this direction, then I could, you know, it was too greedy, essentially, is the point. 20, 21 is down here. And so obviously 21, you can see that because this area is no longer particularly exciting, right? Because there's no direct attack on my position and this position is relatively safe. 21 essentially is now trying to create a safe spot for white here. And I'm actually inclined to let it by playing a move like this, because if I threaten this spot, that would unhinge the entire position. So I assume white c3. Oh, we'll just not care about it. Interesting. That is more interesting than I imagined. Okay. Because that, see, I think a human would probably not have, like, if I were playing against even a slightly lower end pro, they probably wouldn't have let me get away with something like this. But having said that, of course, this corner is very hard to build. What shall we do? We will drive white in this direction because I don't have a hope of creating territory here per se, right? Because there's white here, so any placement by white in this area would create this really difficult. Yes, I know I have text. How do you hear that? How do you hear those texts and not like me talking? Anyway, the point I was laboriously trying to get to. Oh, look, they've been doing that most of today. I guess I've been doing this as well. So, the idea is, if I can't create long pieces of territory along this line, because there's white here, and so any amount of offensive in this direction will have to, you know, respond to that. Also, 29 is what I thought white would do when we did 4, 5, 6. I thought 7 was going to come up here, but it turned out 7 went in that direction. So now we'll see where 31 is. 31 is there. And here's the question, right? Like, I could fight this, or I could straight up just consolidate my position. And there are a few points where I don't want white to attack. Essentially, you know, I could create territory in this area, I could create territory in this area. If I first do something like this, then suddenly this is much less invadable, right? And so I'm taking the opportunity to reinforce my own position. And, you know, I give white 33 by doing this. It'll either extend or it will take. Probably it will extend. And then I'll do something like this to consolidate this position. And suddenly, like, this area is much more... Yeah, see, 35. And suddenly, you see, this area is now looking very, very black. Just because we've managed to... I mean, we are 5 moves ahead, right? So... we would expect white to try to create some space here. We will do this. Just because, again, this is probably a less combative move. But it actually ends up working in our own favor because it consolidates this area down here. So what does that? Hi. I have no idea what rating means. I will apologize. Well, it's happy to have you guys here. So as oh, that's very nice of you. Very kind. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I really only have the Twitch channel because one of my regular viewers is being a mean person. But I'm very, very happy to welcome everyone. Lovely. Thank you very much. I'm now actually a little bit speechless because I never expected this. Thank you. So we shall continue with white 39, move 39. We are looking at some... obviously white is trying to reduce this territory that we have consolidated for us in these 2 moves. But there's not a lot of places for white to go, right? I don't want to... there's no need to be combative by placing directly adjacent to 39 in these 4 positions. But because 32 is existent, and of course we have the star in this direction, even a move like 40 would help consolidate this area and would essentially shall we say, increase the pressure on white to either go in this direction or try to cut me off like they are doing here. Now, obviously white can live or it can die, and this will be a rather difficult fight. But that is what this is about, because obviously we started with 5 stones against against the world's greatest-ish AI in Go. Let's see. We have a few positions that we can play in. Essentially 3 big areas that we want to protect, right? We can protect this area on the left, we can protect this area up north, and we can protect this corner in the bottom right. The one that requires the least amount of moves to protect is the corner in the bottom right, and I think that's what we will do, because this this line is fairly self-sustainable, whereas this is going to take a lot more effort to, shall we say, it's going to take a lot more effort to protect. So because we are already ahead, right? Because we are ahead against the AI, we're going to take the safe route and essentially protect the bottom right. And even as white, so by giving white some room to live like this, right, we are actually helping ourselves by creating much firmer territory in the bottom right to win in the end of the day. Well, so I right now I'm talking to some guys on a private Discord that I stream to. They are being exceptionally mean to me about the fact that I feel more honored that there are people who want to watch my stream on Twitch than than, than the Discord itself. Yeah, you guys are just gonna have to grow up and understand that. I'm sorry. So this area, this means that white wants to consolidate and create a place for itself, potentially. And it's probably going to attempt to attack stone 32. But we have created enough, shall we say, position to make sure that the bottom right remains alive. And so we can do something like, that's a good question. So the question was, is it okay to just leave this on the bottom? No, because these two stones are very much in danger, and so we can see that white is definitely aiming to attack here. Either even something as simple as this position will essentially blow this white open. So if we can use one turn to consolidate the bottom right, like this, obviously white will, or I think white will do something probably here to attack stone 32. I think that's what we spoke of earlier. Yeah, so that's where we see move 53 is attacking stone 32 now, and the idea that white wants to make happen is, if it's able to take stone 32, then it can create this contiguous territory within this area that, you know, eats away at my advantage while trying to help himself or herself or itself, let's say, live. Yeah. 55. So this position is actually very advantageous for white vis-a-vis these two stones, right? So these stones are all nicely connected. That means there's no way, if a fight were to break out between essentially these stones and these stones, these would definitely lose. I don't have a lot of support that comes in this direction. I can't play in, or it's probably not advisable for me to play in a different direction, simply because if I were to do so, I would lose a lot more territory here. So right now, the most important part is to consolidate. Yes, exactly, right? I talk about this all the time. Go is a game of compromise. And compromise means that, and this is just by the very nature of how the game goes, because, you know, you and your opponent make one move each all the time. And so because of that, each of you have, like, the only advantage that black really has without without handicap stuff like we've played here is a tempo advantage. So you have to compromise and say, I'll give you this, and in return I'll get something something. So in this case, maybe 56. Essentially, what I'm going to no, 56 is bad. Essentially, what I wanted to say was, white can have this path in the south, and then I'll just lock myself off here. 56, 57. 57 locked off that stone. Yeah, it seems 56 was too slow of a move, and 57 means that this stone is cut, and if I were to play in this direction, they can cut 46 in the future. But that's not exactly... Like, I'll still have to drive this away, and then I'll have to consolidate 46 in some way. Right, so 59, and if I now don't consolidate 46, the position just south of 46 will be harmful to me in the future. I don't think you can be that harmful to me in the future. I'll take my chances with you. So this is again that compromise, right? We see that essentially white forcefully peeled off the 44 move from me, because 44 was the beginning of an envelopment on this white position. But now I can play something like... Actually, I want to consolidate this position first. Because then this corner is consolidated, and then I'll worry about this corner, this area. I assume they're gonna come back here. Yeah. So this now is becoming a... Well, I mean, 64... No, it's not that 64 is a bad move. 64 is just an off... Like, I lost tempo. I lost the initiative. And so because I lost the initiative, there's nothing I can do about it. White will... Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because it's a back and forth, white will do this. 67 is aimed at disrupting both this connection between this stone and this connection between this stone. That doesn't mean that we will have to choose one over the other ish. It just means that white itself is essentially saying there's not much like, this is a greater potential for white than playing here for now, and I don't disagree with that. Again, it's a tempo issue, right? It's white has the initiative, can attack where it wants, and I have to respond a lot of the time because I have to protect my territory. And so in this case, white has issued the challenge, and I want to protect my territory here, but I also want to protect this area. What do we do? To me, this is a bigger, has more opportunity than this, and that is simply because there are 2 spaces here, and there are 3 spaces here, right? So because 67 is farther away from 19 than 37 is farther from 67, it gives us a little bit more opportunity to mess with white's formations by playing something like this. Or, yeah, this might have been a little bit ambitious. Yeah, so what I wanted to do was essentially attack white while consolidating my own territory and forcing white to defend itself like it did to me here, right? Again, this is the same kind of compromise. I'm of the opinion that white doesn't want to break these two. Maybe it does. But that's why I'm elapsed. Elapsed 1D, right? So white has taken this position. Obviously, we earlier in this stream we had talked about this, where I didn't expect to have this position, simply because we've already by the time that these two moves were played, and by the time 23 was played, 19 was existing, and therefore it had its own threat on this. So that's why I pushed white in this direction, creating this little wall, which white is now using to create that. However, that doesn't mean that we can't mess with it just a little. Something like this. Right, if we were to compress it and then play in this position 3-5, we would essentially consolidate our own corner and attack stone 71 at the same time. Stone 72 is, it's not exactly safe, but it's also, how should we say, it's okay to sacrifice it for this kind of position. Like if they take 72, I'll play here. This corner is essentially safe, but it still means that I don't really have the initiative. I mean, I could, yes, something like that. But now white has all sorts of opportunities against me, right? By playing in these two positions, or even just playing here. But yeah, essentially the point is, by playing in here, it would force me to do this, but then these stones might be lost. And so the safer position, as we've talked about, is there, but we do give up tempo, or we never really had it to begin with, honestly. But by doing 72, we are giving ourselves a lot more breathing space, right? So even something like 1-6 in the future is not that big of a danger, whereas this is a danger to us. So in fact, I think we have gained the initiative, have we? Yeah, we have, because there's no direct danger to us in this position right now. So once we have the initiative, we shouldn't let it go to waste. Of course, I could just simply defend myself by playing a move like this or here, and then that consolidates this, which consolidates this. So even the engine thinks that it's if if we look at the victory percentage, it's not very high. What about 5-5, you mean? Yeah, we could do that. That is, it makes things interesting, because by playing here, we're obviously threatening to take 77, but really the biggest goal is to take 71 further down the line. But it does leave our formation open to counterattacks from here in the future. Right. So if we were to play this out, say for example I take here, white will obviously take in that direction, and this now becomes a spot for us to fight over. Right, like I could simply do this, but then white can come in. Actually, that's probably not very possible. I wonder what white would do. Yeah, that looks like something white would do. Yeah. that. But yeah, exactly. So that's why 80 is not the 78, 79. 80 is not something that I was considering because it's simply it's a weaker move. And it's also slow in terms of pacing, right? For example, if I were to just let's say I just play 80, right? And suddenly if you look at this map, this area is looking very, very comfortable. Like there's no way for white to actually come in here. Of course, the engines think differently. The engine does think that there's stuff that it can do here. Interesting. So probably 82 and then 83. Oh yeah. 83, 84, 5, 6, 7. Let's see if that's what it means. 83, 4. Oh, okay. Yeah, that also makes sense. And okay. Interesting. I was just asked a question. How does it feel to look like a fool in front of total strangers? Surprisingly nice, actually. There's nothing wrong with looking like a fool in front of total strangers. That's why I'm doing this. Well, I mean, most of you on the Discord aren't strangers, but like, it's fine. That's why I'm not just streaming to the Discord. So let's see. It does feel like this has become an untenable position. This would not save me. This would not save me. Let's play it out. So if I play 86 in this position, that it's now a race, right? Can I kill white here before white kills me? And so the problem is, oh, okay. I keep forgetting that white resigns at move 87 if it sees no purpose. If it sees no way of winning. The best kind of people to have to be foolish human around. Yeah, actually, I mean, I love, I one of my favorite things was before COVID-19 was to just strike up conversations with strangers, and part of my work just really, I was lucky that I was able to do that all the time. So yeah, I completely agree with that. It's the best. Yeah, so white has resigned. I still haven't figured out a way for white to keep moving. I think this is still going to end in oh no, this is generating a move for black. Yeah. F16. Okay. Yeah, no, we don't want that. We want white to generate a move. Let's see. If it were the engine, what would it do? Come on. I just want to see the analysis, and I want to see the heat map. No, okay. Well, that's okay. Well, let me just play it out as white in this case then. So it would end up something like this. The race would be against whether white or black could win in this case. And the unfortunate part is there is not a good way for black to win this? Oh yes, right. Yes, you've resigned. Stop. Stop. There we go. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back to here and see what white. We have this as analyzer. Oops. And let's see. Show win rate, show heat map. It still doesn't show it. I once had this working, but it's not. I'll figure it out later. But essentially, the point remains that as black, this position is very, very difficult to win against a someone who's able to calculate all of the moves ahead of time. So that's why. Let's see if we go back to here. Yes, here. If we go back to here and we set as white player, our move in this direction, what is this, 1310, made the engines very happy. It jumped its win rate jumped by however much. I think it was like 10% or something. Not 10%. It jumped from 0.6% to like 1.8%, which meant that it liked the position a lot more. So say in this case, if we play something like, I don't want to remove this node, 7980. There we go. Okay, now we're good. Now the engines are working. I wonder if I can do something like this. Where does white think? Oh. Is it moving? 80, 85, 6. No, it's not moving. Okay. We'll just go back to this. And so in this case, oh wait, white 81, it is moving. Let's turn that off. So by essentially locking off this corner, we're essentially telling white that it's unable to do this very interesting thing that it wanted to do before. And so, oops. So it is trying to attack us down here. Huh. What? Okay, so that means... Yes, you're right. I did indeed get stumped by the AI again. So again, this becomes a choice, right? Do we protect this corner on the bottom right, or do we protect the space that we had developed here? And so obviously I'll go with the bottom right because it is much bigger than this space, and I'm happy to actually give up this space or attempt to save some of it. Let's see. I wonder if I can kill it. So the idea is if I can slowly catch up to this, gigantic, what we call a dragon, because it's going to start like going in all sorts of very interesting places in order to escape this fate. It goes up there, it can go down here. Yeah, if we can kill it. Oh, right. Keep forgetting. White is resigning here. Essentially, what white could do is, oops, no. Let's go back to here. Stop this. Set this analyzer. So white could do something like this, which would make it very difficult for me to actually catch up to it, right? Like, yeah, this will happen, but then white is out here, and then if I were to try to insist really hard, then this becomes a very dangerous position, right? And suddenly, what am I going to do in this case, right? Like, this means white is free, whereas, let's see, if I do something like this, white just becomes free right away, right? So let's go back a little bit to here. If white were to go in the other direction, again, the same kind of idea happens. I can try to cut it off here, but then white just does, you know, it does these types of moves to create room for itself to live down here, or to do exactly the same thing that it did just up there, to run away and I guess make me look like a fool. But yeah, so the original plan today was to play at 5 stones, and we see that the AI is resigning still pretty consistently at 5 stones, which means that next time we do this, we're going to play at a handicap of 4 stones, and you know, we'll just continue doing this until I am. I think my handicap against this AI will probably be 4 or 3, at which point I will start losing, and then, you know, I'll have established where my personal level is, and that sounds about right. Yes, okay, fine. Everyone in the Twitch chat, how are you guys today? I was forced to engage instead of just monologuing and seeming very awkward. Let's see. So to this position. I wonder where else white would have played. Probably something like this. And then would have done no. Maybe not 19 actually. Maybe oops. We would have done something like that. None of these look very good for me. No, none of these look very good for this, for creating any amount of territory in this space. So we would have probably done something like that. And then you mean this, right? Yeah, it doesn't really help in this case. Sure, we've stopped this portion of white to reconnect with that, but it doesn't actually change anything for us, because white will just do this again, which, as we've seen up here, is essentially the same thing, except this time, oh, where are we? Yeah. Except this time there's a much bigger foundation for it, which means there's much less room for me to maneuver, right? And I think last time we did do that. So we did do that. So we did this move here, but this is actually not even a really good move here anymore, because these stones are like, we can't generate any territory here anymore. Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly it, because we've worked so hard in maintaining this territory down here, we are actually now in trouble with this lot, because this lot is now, you know, on the verge of being cut off. Let's see. When it's like this. Can you really hear me think? What am I thinking about right now? You know what? That's fair. I am thinking about how ridiculous you are. Of course, you didn't use the word ridiculous, and I'm not going to use the word that you did. No. No. This is looking dangerous. So let's see. This is where white forfeited, but this position is actually not too bad. White assumes that I know exactly what I'm doing. Obviously, I don't. So let's see. Looks bad resigning. Which means C16, right? White expects me to play at C16? No, white expects to play at K2. Okay, that makes more sense. Let's try this again. Start. And then let's do a... No, not that. You would like it, wouldn't you? If everyone just like up and left. Well, that's basically what happened. Wait, no, it's black. Is it black's turn? It simply says interesting, isn't it? Interesting, isn't it? Because this gives me the highest chance of winning. What about 97? That's an interesting position, right? In this position, I can't move my mouse because I can't really if I do it, the position disappears. But move 16 is exactly what we wanted to avoid by if you remember up here we said we will play this, right? So move 16 in that I wonder if we get the same thing. Oh no, we don't. Much better fight. But this white position is still untenable, I guess. Yeah. So let's see, where did the resignation happen? Here. So yeah, it's still this. Oh, really? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Interesting. Oops. Yeah. Well, ignore the 1%. We don't really care much for them, but so this is just a diversion essentially, right? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16. I don't think I would have ever played those moves. Well, I mean, we played some of these moves, obviously. But between I guess between... No, we would have played these, yeah. And this is now becoming a better move. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ignore the upper left, and let's just look at the bottom left position, which is essentially still not good, right? Because even in this position, actually, in that position, another place here would have actually helped it a lot. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why does it change every time? It changes every time because the engine has had a lot more time to consider the moves. You see, after some time, it's found this for white to be interesting. And you can see why, right? Because it essentially, it blocks off, it reduces the territory in the left of black basically to nothing. And it remains remains in that white is able to escape, and that's very cool. I'm sorry, I'm just learning here. At this point, I'm just learning, yes. But that's kind of the point of this, right? That's always been the point of this. We learn together. We learn about how not to fail in a video game, which I apparently always do. And we also learn about all sorts of other things, like how not to fail at Go. 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 18. Ooh, this is a much better position for white. Compared to any of the other ones? Yeah, this is much better. Oh, no, don't do that. And you can also see the engines themselves. If you look under the, yeah, under the number of the 2%, where the green position is, you can see that the engine has played 51.1 thousand games. starting at that point. And it thinks that this is the best position for it to play in. And it thinks that for black, this is the best position for it to play in. And we can see it is essentially the same. Right? It's essentially the same. And yeah, let's see. 1. And again here, the engine doesn't see anything else. Not at all, actually. Okay. 2, 3, 4. So the moment we play 89, these kinds of moves are these moves up to at least 91 is forced, because so 90 and 91 are forced, because if black doesn't play 90, then this move at 89 just like completely destroys any territory that black has in the back. And if black plays 90, 91 is a must, because otherwise a plopping of a black stone here without 91 would mean that the stone is gone and everything else is gone as well. So 1, oops, 2.5%. Yeah. Oh, you're right, I do have to go. Yes. It is time to end. Yeah, we've been going for how long? An hour? About an hour, yes. Well, thank you very much, my friend. That's very kind of you. That is actually very kind of you. I did not expect you to be this kind, because you usually aren't. So, yeah, we'll end it here for today. I just want to thank everyone else for watching. I thank my lovely raiders for coming and watching for I don't know, was it 10 minutes? I know I'm really boring, so so it's very much appreciated that you guys spend some of your time with me. And with that, yeah, we're done for today. In conclusion, because I always do this, please don't use Google Chrome. It's a very bloated piece of software. Please use Firefox instead, and I will see my regular friends, I guess tomorrow, yeah, for our Friday drinks cast. Okay, good. Bye now. Thanks, guys.